A lot of people online usually like to say, like, I can draft better than an NFL team. Like, I do a better job. I know I can't draft better than an NFL team. There's a lot of information we don't get as a public in terms of interviews, which play a huge role that we can't even like. When you see players go a lot higher and stuff, like these interviews play such a big role in NFL teams that we don't get. And I know I can't draft better than an NFL team, but what I can do is look back at my 2021 mock draft I did, that where I chose who I would pick, and see if I would have drafted who I picked or who the actual NFL draft, and tell that I am better at drafting than NFL teams, even though I'm not. But I'll say that I am better if it was drafted better. Now I know this is a little bit like it's not apples to apples because like say for example like I had Aiden Hutchinson 1 and he goes 2 in the draft, and so like in my mock draft I took like Evan Neal 2 and Aiden Hutchinson actually went 2. So obviously I'd rather what happened in real life with Aiden Hutchinson. But I mean I would have taken him, but he wasn't actually on the board. But we're just gonna go kind of pick by pick and just it's not perfect, but we're just gonna kind of see would I rather have who I drafted for that team or would I rather have who they drafted, and let's just go ahead and get right into it and see what we come up with. All right, I'm gonna try and not make this super long. I got my 2 drafts. If you don't believe me, I mean, this video is on my channel, 2022 NFL Mock Draft 1.0. But we're just gonna go ahead and get right into it. Pick 1, I had Aiden Hutchinson pick 1. Trayvon Walker went pick 1. I'm going with Aiden Hutchinson, who I picked. I don't think that's very much of an argument. Pick 2, Lions selected Aiden Hutchinson. I had Kayvon Thibodeaux. I'm going Aiden Hutchinson. Aiden Hutchinson is 2-0 in the mock draft challenge so far. I mean, like Aiden Hutchinson, I think we all kind of knew he was just like the best player in the draft, but I think Trayvon Walker, just the athleticism caught the eye of the Jaguars. But I think everyone else kind of knew Aiden Hutchinson was the best, and what do you know, he is. Pick 3, I had Evan Neal. They actually took Derek Stingley. Definitely would go with Derek Stingley. Evan Neal struggled a little. I had him as OT1, but he ends up struggling. So their pick 4, they picked Sauce. I picked Stingley. So I'm going with the NFL. You know, the NFL's whooping my ass in the first 4 picks. It's 3-1. And I'm not going to keep score, but yeah. So I mean, Sauce over Stingley. I still don't mind Stingley over Sauce in the draft. I still think the process was good. Sauce is just a hell of a player. So yeah, I'd rather Sauce over Stingley in that situation. At pick 5 for the New York Giants' first pick, I had Ike Ekwonu. They took Kayvon Thibodeaux. This one's kind of a toss-up. I'll lean Kayvon Thibodeaux just because he's shown more. Ike Ekwonu struggled a little down in Carolina. But really, neither one of those two is coming out as like a clear winner. At pick 6 for the Panthers, I picked Charles Cross. They picked Ike Ekwonu. I'm going to give myself the nod. I'm going to go with Charles Cross. I think he's been very good for the Seahawks when healthy, and he arguably might be the best tackle from this draft class. So at least in the early group of ones, Charles Cross has been very good for them. Now at pick 7, the New York Giants. I had Sauce. This is gonna be hard for the Giants to actually beat it. They took Evan Neal. I'll give myself the nod with Sauce. Like I said, Sauce went actually earlier, but hey, man, the game's the game. I'm giving myself wins where I can get them. I had Sauce at 7. At pick 8, they went ahead and drafted Drake London, the Falcons. I had George Karlaftis for them, and I'm going to give myself the edge. I think George Karlaftis has been very good for the Chiefs. He was kind of one of my calls in that draft. I said George Karlaftis. I have in my video, if you go watch it, I say George Karlaftis is like a top 10 dude in this draft class for me. And what do you know? He's looking like he could be a top 10 guy from this draft class because he has been very good for the Chiefs. And dude, I'm glad I was high on because he's a very good player. So George Karlaftis, giving myself the nod there at pick 8 for the Falcons. Now at pick 9 for the Denver Broncos. This one's tough. I had David Ajabo. This was before he tore his ACL at was it the combine or his pro day he tore his ACL? So I mean obviously that one's tough. I mean I'm giving the nod to what even happened here? I had Broncos at pick 9. Oh, this was the Russ trade. I was like, why did the Seahawks pick you? This is the Russ trade. They picked Charles Cross. I mean, yeah, definitely Charles Cross over David Ajabo. But David Ajabo at the time was a very good player. Next up at pick 10, I had Kyle Hamilton to the New York Jets. They took Garrett Wilson. This one's tough. They're both very good players. I'll give the nod to Garrett Wilson because of position value, and the receiver is more valuable than safety. But I mean, Kyle Hamilton, if they went Kyle Hamilton, a lot of people wouldn't be complaining because he is already one of the most versatile defenders in the league for the Ravens. So I'll give the nod to Garrett Wilson for position value with the NFL there, but still, I'm not counting a full loss. At pick 11, this is crazy. At pick 11, I had the Washington Commanders selecting Sam Howell. I didn't even notice that. I got the right team, just maybe a couple rounds early, a lot of rounds early, but hey, I had Sam Howell to Washington. They end up actually trading out of that pick, but we're just going to go with who was at that pick. The pick was Chris Olave. We'll give the nod to Chris Olave there. Definitely probably better than him. At pick 12,
all the information you need to
video. At pick 12, I had Trent McDuffie to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm watching an ad, sorry, right now, but I had Trent McDuffie at pick 12, who went to the Minnesota Vikings. At pick 12 was actually Jameson Williams. I'll give myself the listen. The Chiefs just maybe I'm like a secret Chiefs informant, because the two dudes I have way higher in this draft than when they went was George Karlaftis and Trent McDuffie. They both go to the Chiefs. They've both been incredible in the NFL. So, maybe the Chiefs are watching my video. Thank you, Veach, all you guys in the Chiefs organization who are watching my video. I appreciate the viewership. You guys are big Jared fans on YouTube. And, that's why you guys are balling in the draft with rookies. I appreciate all the love, man. But, yeah, I'm giving myself the nod on that one. At pick 13, I had USC receiver. Oh, I had Drake London at pick 13. I don't know why my brain is like, who the hell is a UFC? I had Drake London at pick 13. The Eagles selected Jordan Davis. I'm giving myself the nod for Drake London. Jordan Davis is a good run stopper, but he's still showing a lot of limitations in terms of other things in the NFL. So I'm giving myself the nod of Drake London. Pick 14, I had the Ravens going Kaiir Elam from Florida. They actually went Kyle Hamilton. Give Kyle Hamilton the nod. Kaiir Elam's been struggling with Buffalo, even though he looked good his rookie year, and then he got benched, and I don't know, it's kind of just a whole weird thing with them. But pick 15 for the Philadelphia Eagles, I had linebacker Devin Lloyd from Utah. Pick 15 actually ended up being the Texans, who went Kenyon Green. Screw it, I'm giving my nod Devin Lloyd, man. Kenyon Green hasn't been anything special. Devin Lloyd, we've seen, some flashes. He hasn't been anything special either, but if in doubt, I'm giving myself the nod. So we're moving on to pick 16, who was another Eagles pick. I had Garrett Wilson at pick 16. It was Jahan Dotson. Like I said, a little cheap one because Garrett Wilson went earlier, but still, nonetheless, going to go ahead and give, actually, this might have been Chris Olave. This was Garrett Wilson. Yeah, no, 16 was Garrett Wilson. I said, give myself the nod anytime I have the chance. Pick 17, the Chargers, I had going with Treylon Burks from Arkansas. They actually went Zion Johnson. That one's a toss-up. I guess I'll give Zion Johnson. Treylon Burks just can't stay healthy. So sure, we'll give the nod to to Zion Johnson, but it's not really anything to write home about. I had Desmond Ridder, the Saints, at 18. So it was actually Treylon Burks in the Titans who picked there. Somehow Treylon Burks to the Titans is getting the nod. Man, I really messed that one up, man. Whew. It's like, all I had to beat was Treylon Burks to the Titans, and I fucking chose Desmond Ridder, man. Whatever. The Eagles at pick 19. Like I said, this draft always different because this is before, there tons of trades happened in this draft, but the Eagles I had going with, at pick 19, I had them going edge from Florida State, who was Jermaine Johnson. I have almost forgot for a minute. I had Jermaine Johnson at pick 19. Actual pick 19 was Trevor Penning. Definitely giving myself the nod there. Jermaine Johnson's been a pretty decent player so far. Kind of struggled early on, but he really picked it up this last season, had a good season. So give myself the nod. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers, I had Malik Willis. They had Kenny Pickett. I'll give them a nod for Kenny Pickett. Everyone knew the Steelers were getting a quarterback this draft, and they just drafted the better quarterback than me. Fair play. I thought Malik Willis would be good, but you miss you make some, you miss some. Pick 21, I had Jameson Williams to the New England Patriots. Pick 21 was actually the Trent McDuffie pick, so I'll happily give Trent McDuffie the win there in the Chiefs for the NFL because Trent McDuffie was one of my guys. At pick 22, I had Chris Olave to the Raiders. The pick 22 was actually the Packers, who picked Quay Walker. I've given myself the nod. Chris Olave has been a stud. Quay Walker's been pretty good too, but maybe we should just stop trying to get kicked out of games. But he's still a hell of a player. But Chris Olave is just different, man. That's not really a knock on. There's not really a knock on Quay Walker. It's more just a credit to Chris Olave in that situation. Next up, it was the pick 23 was the Arizona Cardinals before I ended up getting traded like multiple times. I had them going Tyler Linderbaum, the center from Iowa. The actual pick at pick 23 was Kaiir Elam. I'm going to give the nut to Tyler Linderbaum. I think he's been solid, and like I said, Kaiir Elam's kind of been struggling. At pick 24, I had the Dallas Cowboys going with Devontae Wyatt. They took Tyler Smith. I didn't think Tyler Smith was a good pick at the time, but man, was I wrong about Tyler Smith. I will admit that he is. We kind of viewed him as a tackle, and he was kind of like a project, but I mean, fair play to the Cowboys for moving him to guard, and he's one of the best guards in the entire NFL. So definitely give it a nod to, even though like Devontae Wyatt, I haven't really heard anything from him, so I don't know how he's doing in Green Bay, but it's a pretty high bar to beat with Tyler Smith. You're not gonna win that many times. So 25, I had Andrew Booth to the Bills. 25 was Tyler Linderbaum to the Ravens. Tyler Linderbaum wins that one. I don't really know much about Andrew Booth either. Minnesota Vikings fans, let me know how has he been healthy and what he's done, because I thought he was going to be good, but I haven't heard much from him. So, yeah, I don't really know how that's going. But 26, I had Trevor Penning to the Titans. 26 was Jermaine Johnson. I'm going to go with Jermaine Johnson. Trevor Penning's been struggling in New Orleans over there. I had him lower than others, but 27, I had Roger McCreary from Auburn, the corner, and the actual pick 27 was Devin Lloyd. This one's tough because I do think Roger McCreary's been up and down for Cleveland, but I do think he's been a solid player. He went a lot later than this in the actual draft. And Devin Lloyd, same thing. He's been kind of up and down. I really do. I'm going to call it a tie just because I don't really know. Like, you got position value in Roger McCreary. So I'm just, you know what? Tie goes to Jared. We're going with my pick of Roger McCreary at pick 27. That's how it rolls. When it's my video, I choose. Pick 28, I had Jalen Petrie to the Green Bay Packers. Pick 28 was Devontae Wyatt. I'm going to give myself Jalen Petrie. He's been a very good player for the Houston Texans and a very good safety who's versatile, can play the run and other things. Pick 29, I had Nakobe Dean. It was actually Cole Strange. Somehow Cole Strange is winning this, even though he hasn't been very good. Nakobe Dean just hasn't played. As an Eagles fan, I'd love to see Nakobe Dean play, but he's just been hurt, which sucks to see. But that's kind of how it is. At pick 30, Kansas City Chiefs, I had them picking Boye Mafe in my mock draft. They actually go George Karlaftis. They definitely get the nod with George Karlaftis, but Boye Mafe has been a stud last year for the Seahawks, and I think he's good. So I'm happy I had Boye Mafe at pick 30. I'm happy I shot my shot with him because he is a very good player, and more to say towards George Karlaftis being a stud in that pick rather than Boye Mafe not necessarily being very good. And then pick 31 and 32, I have no idea who I even went. Okay, 31, I had Bernard Raymond, tackle from Central Michigan, who's actually been playing pretty well as of late for the Colts. That's over Daxton Hill for the Bengals was the actual pick. I'm going to go Bernard Raymond. He took some time, but like he's been a very good, solid lineman. And the Bengals could definitely use some linemen. So, I'm going to go Bernard Raymond, my pick for the Bengals for that one. And that's it. That's the end of the first round. We're not going to talk about pick 32. I had Matt Corral. Anyways, thank you guys for watching the video. I'll see you guys for more draft stuff, and I'll see you next time.